Sevgili basketbol severler, çok önemli bir konum var bugün. İlk arenadayız. Koç Kokoskov bizlerle birlikte olacak. First of all, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
And thank you for your having time in this busy schedule. Let's talk about, let's have the conversation. I will do the interview. Fazıl Say is very important pianist of Turkey. And during his childhood, when he was 3 years old, he has a big illness from his mouth and had an operation. It was fatal operation. So he went to London, and after that operation he has to play harmonica in order to improve his muscles. So during this, when he was 3 years old, in his house he's playing harmonica, and his father realized that, oh, this is very compatible and harmonic notes. Let's go to expert, and expert comes. Then, hey, look at that child. This kid is genius. So he has a big career about this. You have a very familiar career step, because in this accident when you were 18 years old, you had to quit your basketball career and become a coach. We are here to speak with you. You are a young coach, I can say that. But you have young coach, although you have a 20 years NBA career, many national team career. So if this accident not happens, this tragedy not happens, then you cannot meet with Alexander Nikolic, because he was very old when you were in Belgrade University. Do you think that this incident, accident, is a tragedy, but this is a big opportunity in your life?
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing this story with us. And that story is very neat, very nice, very, you know, like a lot of young viewers can learn from that story. But that's about a genius. I'm not a genius. I'm not a genius. I'm just a basketball coach. I don't see myself as a genius. I always say that, you know, when we have coaches clinics and we have some presentation, they ask me about my philosophy. And I keep telling them I don't have philosophy, I have opinion. So I would never give myself that much credit that I have a philosophy or that I'm genius. I'm not at all. I'm fortunate to do the job and to be in something that I like. You know, all my life I've been involved in the sport, in football, like all European kids. And then in elementary school, all my friends were playing basketball, and I kind of, even my father was a professional football player, I decided to be in basketball, and he was okay. He was happy with that. So anyway, I'm just doing, you know, my job. I just, regardless on, you know, successful seasons or less successful seasons, I would do this. Even if I would coach a high school team or some cadet team in a small basketball school, I would still do this. That wouldn't change my occupation. And yes, I mean, you know, they're saying, and I read during this pandemic, I was reading, we were sitting at home and reading a lot of stories, a lot of articles, we were trying to kill the time and do something valuable with our time. Somebody was saying that if you're trying to make a God laugh and Allah laugh, then just tell him your plans. Mm-hmm. So you tell him your plans, and he's going to laugh at you, because he's making plans for us. So on just speaking about my plans, when I was 18 years old, I had a car accident. My plan was to play basketball as long as I can. Unfortunately, I couldn't. It changed my life. It changed my path. I couldn't play basketball after that. It was a severe car accident, but you know, I had no doubt that I'm going to be in the basketball for the rest of my life.
Before this interview, I was trying to prepare myself.
You're very well prepared.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I really appreciate for that. And I wrote to Google, what is the most important question of life? And it was, who am I? And how do you define yourself, sir?
That's a very deep question. You know, it's a long. I think that there's so many different ways how I can answer your question, but just you know, I think there is only two kind of people in this world. I have 2 kids at home. Elena is 8 and my son Luca is 10. And I keep telling them there's only 2 kind of people in the world. And that's the only way we divide people. It's the bad and good people. So we're trying to be good and to treat people right and with respect, so we can earn respect from other people. So, you know, it just, I grew up in Europe. I grew up in Belgrade. I moved to the States at the age of 28, 29, and I stayed there for 22 years. So I'm somewhere in between. You know, when I'm in Europe, then especially people in basketball, they call me, he's American. And then when I go to America, they call me, he's European. So nobody wants me. I'm somewhere in between. I'm sitting in the ocean. And, but, you know, people are curious. You know, people in Turkey, in Europe, in Serbia, they ask me, hey, how are the Americans? You know, culture-wise, what's their, what's the, you know, what kind of people, you know, what kind of, and how much are they different than we are? And also, when I go to the States, they ask me about the Europeans, about a culture, about a mentality. And I always say that people are bad everywhere. Just depends if there is a law to control the people. And it's a joke. It's a joke. Obviously, I believe that we all have something good inside of us, and that's how I live my life. That's how I raise my kids. That's how I was raised in my family. I'm representing my family, my parents. My name, my family, you know, family name, and that's how I'm the same in basketball. I think that at the end of the day, we're fortunate. We're fortunate that we just entertain people. We're just playing basketball. Think about it, it's a basketball game. It's a basketball game. We should have fun. Game is, by definition, is something fun that we should enjoy playing and also sharing fun. I mean, it really melts my heart when I see all these highlights of the fans in Fenerbahçe Arena, and I see the young kids wearing the Fenerbahçe jerseys, and they're happy to be there, and they recognize some idols in the locker room. Is it Jan Vessel? Is it Bobby Dixon, or some of these guys? So what I'm saying is just this should be fun, and for me, just being part of the game and playing the game and coaching the game and make of living, I think I'm fortunate to have that, call that job. That's a job.
So there is a sliding doors movie, named Sliding Doors, and in psychology there is also a phrase that sliding door effects. Let's come to Red Star game, and Zoe Brown just throw the ball to the rim, and Fenerbahçe win the game in the last second. So do you think that is the enthusiasm? I mean, do you think that everything is very different if this shoot was not scored? I mean, not a point. And what was the most positive effect to this shot to other games and Fenerbahçe's winning series?
It is important. It is a moment when you kind of get momentum back, when you get a confidence back. There was a time when we signed Marko Guduric, when we were kind of seeing and observing how that new sign, and Marko is coming back. He played for Fenerbahçe for a couple of years now. How the new old guy Marko is going to fit in a group, and winning that game was very important, just for confidence wise and also for momentum wise. I think important. But going back, you know, back to your question, but going back to the beginning of the season, how important would be CSKA game? Yeah. If we won that, we're supposed to win. I think I'm not saying they didn't deserve to win, but we shouldn't put in overtime, we should win in overtime, etc. We were up 21 against Bayern Munich back-to-back at home, and unfortunately didn't close the game, didn't win the game. Maybe that would send season in a different direction. So maybe at that point we would have a momentum back, we would feel comfortable, and because it's a lot of new things, new coach, new philosophy, new offense, new defense, etc. So those kind of things are very important. And just interesting story, just how momentum is changing in the seasons. I was for 5 years with the Detroit Pistons, and I was fortunate to be a member of the staff with the Hall of Fame coach Larry Brown. So for 2 years when Larry Brown was coaching Detroit Pistons were in the 2 NBA finals, and we won a championship in 2004. So at that time, there was Pistons probably with the Lakers, the best team in the world. But Larry Brown lost the job. So Pistons fired Larry Brown after taking team to the 2 NBA Finals, and the team hired Flip Saunders. So the point is, what the fans can expect from the new coach if they fire a coach who took the team to the 2 NBA Finals. New season started. And we were playing, I believe there was a second game in Boston Garden against Boston Celtics. And we didn't play well. But Rip Hamilton made a, last shot to beat the buzzer, and we won that game. And the point of the story is, with the new coach, everything was new to us. And winning that game completely changed our season. And I don't know if you guys remember, our team won 67 games that year in the regular season, which was the third best record in history of the NBA, because that game determines that last shot to beat the buzzer basically changed the game. Hopefully that's going to be Lorenzo Brown's shot in Belgrade, which was a very important game.
Yeah, so did you change your game plan, or did you change your seasonal plan in the middle of the season? And is it the effect, if this series is considered as a positive thing, did you have a need to change your game plan, any opportunity? So.
Yeah, there's a strategy and there's a tactic. Strategy is a big picture. How do you see your team? What's the strengths of the team, weaknesses? There is no perfect team. We always say every team's got a strengths and weaknesses. And we're trying to emphasize strengths and then cover weaknesses. We had a lot of weaknesses like every other team. Coach's job is to adapt and to adjust to the team that he has. And that's the beauty of coaching. Because one piece, one player can change the look of the team. Spacing can affect a lot of things on the court. So as a coach, I think you have to be flexible. If you're stubborn, if you're demanding certain style of basketball, we're saying my way or no way kind of way of coaching, I think it's not working. So we had a bunch of games where we missed Nando. That's not the same team. With Nando, without Nando, but we have a bunch of games that we missed Jan. So we're playing with the two big guys, with Jan, without Jan, waiting for a playmaker, without Marco, etc. So the point is, as a coach, you have to be flexible. And I was flexible. I was flexible, and I am flexible in terms of trying to adjust and find the best recipe for the pieces and for the players that we have on the roster.
In your NBA career, in the beginning of NBA career, so you are specialist as a personal development coach. And is it the effect to Jan Veseli's positive performance in this season, because he is doing very well, and maybe according to authorities, it is much more than better when he was in MVP of the season in EuroLeague.
Right, and I mean,
did you have a contribution to him?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I was just tricking Americans. I just trick people in the NBA. I tricked them because they're saying, "What's your specialty?" They asked me, "What's my specialty?" When I was getting job in NBA, they asked me, "What's my specialty?" And then I couldn't say my specialty is offense. My specialty is because I was 27 years old. So my specialty was player developing. But it's an interesting question, because how can you develop players if you don't know the big picture of basketball? How can you be offensive coordinator? Are you offense or defensive coach? How can you coach offense without knowing defense? How can you teach defense without knowing offense? So it's all related. Everything is connected. And talking about Jan, we have, and thanks for asking me, that's a great question. We have a great coaching staff. We're a little team, just like we have a team in the locker room, and the strength of this team, the franchise, are players. This franchise is based on the players, but also don't forget we have very good coaching staff with Erdem and Rado, Coach Serhan, all these guys working daily, day and night. Watching films, individual workouts. Lifting weights, our strength conditioning program, etc., etc. So they all combine. It's a process, and they can feel it that we invest in our time and our knowledge, our experience to make him better and put him in the most best position that they can perform the best. And I'm glad if Jan is in a good place and he feels comfortable, that's our job. Because always saying that players win the games. So my job as a coach is not to ruin players. So just I'm not trying to, at least don't try to lose the games. But credit for Jan Vesely is taken to the coaching staff, not really to me.
Okay. We have to consider this season as an extraordinary season due to pandemic situation. So in EuroLeague games, every team can beat another. For example, in the previous years, in the first 3 or 4 teams do not lose many games as they do this year. For example, we are very surprising results. Red Star goes and beat Real Madrid in their home court. So what do you consider this season? And during this consideration, would you please emphasize your targets and what is the meaning of success at the end of the season for Fenerbahçe Beko?
Well, the sad thing is that we learn how to live and to play under these abnormal circumstances. Pandemic became part of our life. Wearing mask, just putting sanitizer on hands and being especially, high, careful and, what are we doing, how are we behaving, etc. All these restrictions. We don't have fans. Like we learn how to play basketball game. It's all about the fans, and we don't have fans right now. So it became our reality. It became our everyday, and we're just hoping that this is going to be gone one day, and we're going to be back to normal. I think it's good for EuroLeague that there is no, besides Barcelona, who is playing maybe the most consistent team in the EuroLeague, and CSKA, who's got a lot of ups and downs now with the Şengeli is out for injury, Mike James situation unknown, Milutinov is out, so we can expect that they're gonna drop a little bit. A lot of changes in Real Madrid. Some guys are leaving, some guys are a little bit older, but I think it's good for EuroLeague. I think it's good for EuroLeague that there's a games that we lost by big, and then we came here and lost, beat some teams. But a big points differential, and I think it's fun for fans that every game is unpredictable. Unpredictable the final score, so every game brings that excitement that the fans are looking for, and I think it's good for basketball, good for EuroLeague. Our goal is to get better. Our goal is, we are still Fenerbahçe. We still have a high standards. We don't play just games to play the games. We don't just competing just to be another team in a EuroLeague schedule. We understand that we're representing one of the biggest sports club in the history of in the world, and we have to behave that way, and we have to give our best every night, and to give our 100% to try to win the games. But there's no calculations. We don't show up some games and try to, like I said, to just scrimmage and just to play the games, and that we don't care. We care about every game that we play, and that's and we're going to try to win as many games as we can, and hopefully we're going to continue working hard, getting better, and hopefully we're going to play our best basketball when the season is online.
Let's consider again the beginning of the season. I mean, in the first 10 or 10 games, especially Spain teams, Fenerbahçe played in Spain and had a poor results. And of course, this created a criticism in media, in the mind of the fans. But during the press conferences or the post-game interviews, you never point anyone in the team. You just take the responsibility always. You never blame any person, anything. You didn't complain much. How does it? Is it your personality? I mean, is it your main manner? Because it is very difficult to take this responsibility when everything is worse and everything is nightmare. What would you say about this? How can you control yourself?
Well, my friendly advice to everybody is just to stay away from the people who are saying, I don't have ego. We all have egos, right? But my ego is in a good place. I have an ego just like everybody else, but it's in a good place. You know, I really strongly believe that coach is taking the most responsibility when it comes to the team. I don't want to go to the details and try to explain. First of all, we're in a public business. This is sports entertainment, and as a public, as a public figure, that, you know, I am public figure. People have all rights to criticize or to, you know, just give us some credit for some good things. But that's their job. My job is to coach, players play the game, fans are watching, criticizing, cheering for, and that's a cycle of this business, and that's okay. Criticism is fine. I live with that, and I take always full responsibility, and that's not for show. I really, you know, the finger that, you know, we always have to point the finger who's taking responsibility, because the way I'm coaching my team, I always think what I can do better, what I can do different, and where is mistake. And this is basketball is a game of mistakes. So when we score basket, the opponent team made a mistake, or we turn the ball over, then we made a mistake. So mistakes are part of the game. If there is no mistakes, the score would be 0-0. There is no game that it's a 0-0 score. So somebody's making mistakes. Coaches in making, somebody came up with a great stats that over, I think, 2,000 decisions that he's making during the process of playing one game. Substitution, grading decisions, calling the play, calling defensive adjustments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to make mistakes, and I'm living with mistakes that I'm making, and always thinking where I made mistakes. But, and again, you know, I'm not changing myself. I'm going to be myself. It's okay. It's okay for people to criticize. I know who I am. I know who I'm not, and I'm in a good place. And also, if I'm telling you that, you know, those games, do we remember that Nando didn't play, that he was injured? Do we remember that Jan didn't play? Do we remember that Marco wasn't even close here? That's the 3 guys in the starting lineup. Now, at that time, if I would come in the press conference and talking about excuses, then I'm covering myself, which I don't need that. You know, we just, we understand it's a long season, long path. I'm taking responsibilities, and the end of the movie, that's a season, is going to tell us the genre of the movie.
Is it for creating a comfort zone for the players, so they will think and consider that, okay, coach, take the responsibility. I'm relaxed a little bit, so I can think and concentrate to another game, the next game. Is it for creating them a comfort zone?
Yeah, we're keeping our guys accountable. My job is also to keep the guys accountable. When they make a mistake, I don't say good job and clap, you know, and saying don't worry. You know, my job is to keep them accountable, to also to teaching, coaching, and you know, like I said, this is a game of mistakes. So if somebody made a mistake, my job is to tell them that the mistake was made. But trust me, they have a lot of pressure. They have a lot of being in this on top level in professional sports, coming from the media, coming from the referees, coming from the fans, coming from the agents, family, etc. So we should do anything we can. My job is to put them in a comfort zone, in the best zone they perform, but we're all different. We all perform differently. Some guys need more pressure. Some guys got to be cursed out. Some guys got to be let it go. Some guys got to be, and that's, I think, social intelligence that you need for this job as a coach, to understand that we're all different. They're the same, but they're different, and you have to press different button to get the guy going. And again, this is not also equal opportunity business. I learned it in NBA, and so I'm still keeping guys accountable. I'm not saying everything is great when it's not. So we also share, but inside the locker room, not publicly.
Okay. And in the final session, you are also training, coaching Serbian national team. As you know, FIBA, the cleavage between FIBA and EuroLeague made everything in very difficult situation. How do you consider this? Is it difficult to coach in a national team in the middle of the season, let's say? And do you think that, is there a solution for that, for the cleavage of FIBA and EuroLeague situation?
For me personally, I mean, dream jobs came to me at the same time, because coaching Fenerbahçe is a dream come true. one of the biggest sports clubs in the world. At that time, I had a job and I was on a contract with the Sacramento Kings. So I left NBA. A lot of coaches right now, they think I'm crazy, leaving NBA, coming to Europe. And there's a lot of instability in Europe. NBA is pretty stable. So, but for me, it was challenge. And what's a life without excitement, without challenge? And that's why I'm here. So I didn't look for a job. I was looking for a better opportunity. So I was leaving NBA to come to Fenerbahçe. At the same time, I grew up in Serbia, and Yugoslavian Serbian basketball school is world famous with a lot of success. Think about the coaches who coached the Yugoslavian and Serbian national team. So it was a privilege to coach your own team. But you know, there's a lot of challenges, and one of the challenges that conflict between EuroLeague and FIBA. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of benefits for European basketball. I think the conflict is bad for a European, excuse me, for European basketball. We're going to continue playing basketball in Europe. Nothing is going to stop. Kids going to love playing basketball professionally or just as amateurs, but nothing's going to stop production of the young players. Now the question, how can we keep these players and to play? So Luka Doncic and Jokic and all these European players, how can we keep him here? The conflict is not a good. I don't think that it's any short-term solution for that conflict between EuroLeague and FIBA. Unfortunately, that conflict works great for NBA because we're still going to produce young players, and the best of the best going to go in the more stable and financially the most dominated league in the world. They're, I would say, 15 years ahead of us. Financially, the only profitable league in the world is NBA. Yeah. In the meantime, I think we have to find ways to solve the problem. I can't solve the problem. I can, it's a privilege for me to be part of the EuroLeague as a coach of Fenerbahçe and a coach Serbian national team as a part of FIBA. I did it both, and I don't think there is any goodwill to the problem being solved. Economy dictates everything. Whatever is happening in sports, in basketball, economy dictates, and unfortunately even politics. So we have to create a professional league in Europe, but there is a lot of different countries with a lot of different political systems, political situations, etc. In America and the States, everything is stable, very stable, and that's why sports is stable too, and NBA is stable. Europe doesn't have that stability, and all I can think is just I wish that the things get better here, more stable, and that we can compete with NBA, and hopefully in 5-10 years we're going to have another profitable basketball league in the world. Unfortunately for right now, NBA dominates. There's a complete domination and centralization of all the world basketball. Everything goes in NBA. The best of the best goes to NBA.
So thank you very much for this interview, and I wish you success and luck and health, especially in the coming season. And
thank you so much for having me, and I'm going to watch a movie. I'm kind of, I love to watch movies that sliding doors, right?
Yeah, it is sliding
I'm going to watch it tonight.
Everything changed with sliding doors. I mean, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Sevgili basketbol severler, bugünlük bu kadar. Hoşça kalın.